Hey guys, I thought it'd be quicker to send you a video about number 20 and number 18 on page 221 rather than try to explain it through an email. A few of you asked questions about these. This one is a Poisson distribution, and what makes it a Poisson distribution is that they told us what the average was. The average was 16. And I forget what even the question is, but in any case, the average is 16. And let me show you. Let me go to this page, 221. They were talking about organ transplants from living donors performed in a day in the United States. The average is 16. So the question is, what's the probability that in any given day they would have 12 organ donors? And the formula is very easy to use, except that you have to know where the buttons are in the calculator. So let's take a look. If you look at this, and I want to put this in the calculator, be careful to use your parentheses right. So I'm going to go 16 to the 12th, close the parentheses, and go times. I'm going to go E, which is behind your LN button down here. And again, I'm going to go to the, I already asked you to the, so you're going to go negative 12. Don't do minus 12 like I almost did. Do negative 12. I'm sorry, negative 16. I'm messing this up. And then I'm going to divide this by 12 factorial, which is 12 times 11 times 10 times 9 and so forth. But if you go over to probability and it's under math, go over to probability and down to number 4, you would get that. And if you hit enter, you get 0.066. But the tricky part comes in parts B and C. B and C, the question says that what's a probability that it would be at least 8 organ donors? At least 8. Well, at least 8 means the probability of 8, 9, 10, 11, all the way up to, you could actually have an infinite amount of organ donors. That would be impossible to do. So what we would do is, since all of them from 0 all the way to infinity add up to 1, because all the probabilities add up to 1, we would just go the probability of 0, 1, 2, 3, all the way up to number 7, because the question asks 8 or more, so we would only go up to 7. And that would even be kind of impossible to do. Not impossible, but it would take a long time. So what we would do is go to the chart, and if you see this chart that starts on page A11, on the left side it gives you the X value, what you're interested in, and on the top it gives you the average, mu. So we're looking for an average of 16, so we'll keep turning the pages until we see an average of 16, and the average of 16 actually happens on page A15. Now on that A15, we want the average, which is from 0 to 8, 0 to 7, right? And then we're going to subtract that from 1. So if we take this here, this 0 to 7 part, and we subtract it from 1, add these up and subtract them from 1, and you would actually get an answer of 0.99. For the next one, part C, they're saying, what's the probability that it would be 10 or less? Well, 10 or less is 0, 1, 2, 3, all the way up to number 10. Again, that's a lot of work to use this formula over and over again, actually 10, 11 times counting the 0. So what we would do is we would go to the back to the chart and say, you know what, we need to add up these 0 to 10. And if we look at 0 to 10, let's use a different color, because the average is still 16, and now I would want 0 to 10, and I would just add all these up. So before, the pinks, we added these and subtracted from 1 because they wanted 8 or more. But now they want 10 or less. So it actually add up all of these. And if you do that with your calculator, you'll come out with an answer of 0.077. That's the Poisson distribution, where they give you an average. This is very important. They give you an average. And then they ask you, well, what if this happened instead? What would the probability of that happen instead if the average is normally 16? That's what makes it a Poisson distribution. Number 18, the question here is definitely a geometric distribution, because what they're asking about in number 18 is that what's the probability of getting your first win on your fourth purchase when you have a 1 in 4 chance of winning? So let's take a look at this. And some of you had questions specifically on part C, but let's do all of them together. The probability of winning was 1 out of 4, which is 0.25, so therefore the probability of losing is 0.75. They're saying, what's the probability of winning on your fourth try? Very simply, you're going to go 0.25 times 0.75 to the 4 minus 1, which is a 3, and you're going to get a 105. For part B, the question is a little bit different. It says, what's a probability of winning on your first, second, or third try? That would be this. The word or implies addition. So the probability of the first one plus the probability of the second plus probability of the third. And you'd have to do this formula 3 times. This one is the 1 minus 1, which is a 0, and anything to the 0 power is 1. So 1 times 0.25 is 0.25. Then you go 0.25. The 2 would be a 2 minus 1, because the formula says x minus 1. And then the 3 minus 1, which would be a 2. Find these in your calculator, and they add up to 0.579, kind of rounded off. That's what that squiggly equal sign means. Now in part C, they're saying, what's the probability of winning? It says, here's the exact words, that you do not win the prize in your first 4 purchases. That means that you won the prize either on your 5th purchase, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Well, there's no way that we could add all those up. 5 plus 6 plus 7, probably 8, all the way up to infinity. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, add them up and subtract them from 1. Now we don't have a probability of 0 here because that means you didn't even try. What's the probability of winning if you didn't even try? So that would be 0. So, but what happens is we got 1, 2, and 3, but we did those already right here, and I'll take this answer. That's why I use this like yellow orange marker. That's what these are. I don't have to redo it. Plus the probability of 4, which was answer number 1, and I put it here. If I add these two together and subtract from 1, I'll get a 0.316 for my answer. So try these 2 questions. Try them over again. Make sure you can put these in your calculator. Make sure you get the answers that I got. And then continue on practicing from questions 11 to 26 on page 220. So it's 11 to 26 on page 220. I hope you're working hard. We're going to have another quiz next week. Your class will be Tuesday. Look out for a live video chat that's coming hopefully next week. And hope you're doing well and staying safe and healthy. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.